I don't want to talk about them specifically.
Even though you just did.
No, what I mean is...
I don't want to talk about them specifically,
I don't want to
they're
talk...
trash.
Hey guys, welcome to ToneBros. My name's Casey.
And I'm Colin. We're going to get started today with our current topic. Casey, take it away.
All right, so I want to talk about the current topic, the new Epiphone Coronet reissues. Gibson started making these at the Gibson factory. They're all USA made, all nitro, single P90 in the bridge, wraparound, double cut, $16.99, made in the US, down in Nashville like they should be. What's your thoughts?
I think it's dumb.
Dumb?
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. Reason being is no one has ever seen a Coronet and been like, this is the coolest guitar ever. Because the shape of it is weird. You know, I'm sure the sound is fine. And people are going to hate me for commenting on this. I get it. But I've never seen that shape and been super inspired. Like, it makes me think, you know what it makes me think of? I think of Guitar Hero 2.
Yeah.
And I'm dating myself a little bit there.
Yeah, that's okay.
But, like, that was a guitar that you could play, and I was like,
really?
This is a stupid shape.
Huh.
It never made sense to me. It might sound great. I don't know. Like,
well, it probably sounds as good as a Junior.
A double cut Junior.
It's essentially the same as a Junior.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit thinner.
I was about to say, and it's got a little bevel to it.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much wood there. I have a hard time believing, like, it's going to be, like... You know, I'm curious about the neck pickup, too. Like, is it really...
Neck pickup. It's a single pickup, right?
I thought it was two.
No, it's a single pickup.
Okay, well...
Single bridge pickup.
Regardless, there's not much wood in that body to really resonate very much, I feel like.
Well...
It's like a Strat with one pickup, P90.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, I'm not interested.
But you love Juniors.
I do like Juniors.
You like SG Juniors, you like double cut Juniors, you like single cut Juniors. But the Coronet's a no-go?
It's like a Strat body with a P90. I would give it a shot, but I think it's kind of dumb. Like, why would you pay that kind of money? How much does it cost?
$16.99.
That's what I'm saying.
That's like the same price as a Junior.
That's exactly right. Why would you pay that price for an Epiphone Coronet that looks like a Coronet, and then you could buy a Junior? Why even...
Well, because maybe you pick it up and it's like the guitar.
Also, isn't that eating into Gibson's market at that point?
I feel like it's a completely different market. I feel like it's a completely different place. So it's made with nitro. It's got all the right things. It's made in Nashville. It's got the right Epiphone bikini headstock. The headstock it should have.
I'm not saying that Epiphone's not doing it right.
Epiphone, that is, in my opinion, it's the exact right step of where Epiphone needs to be. They, in my opinion, have screwed up with this inspired by Gibson custom shop stuff.
I disagree.
I know you do, but I think they're completely wrong in doing that.
Those
I think that's
pickups are really helping those guitars.
Well, they probably are, but I mean, you can only help them so much, you know?
All I'm saying is, I think this Coronet is kind of dumb.
I think it's great.
For as much as it costs.
I might buy one. Like, I'm considering, like, I need to go check one out because I'm in the market for a Junior right now, and I love double cut Juniors, so I might fall in love with this Coronet.
Okay.
My future guitar's dumb?
Potentially. Yeah. I just think it's, like, ludicrous that an Epiphone guitar... I know that it's made with nitro and all this other stuff.
It's made in the same... It's made right next to a Junior, so why should it be, like, way cheaper?
Because I don't like the shape. I said it.
Okay, but some people don't like 335 shapes. Does that mean they shouldn't be that expensive?
Well, they shouldn't be that expensive,
okay.
First of all.
A Junior or a Les Paul or whatever, or SG?
An SG Junior? But an SG Junior's cheaper than this.
It is. You're right. You're right.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, maybe an SG Junior being cheaper than this doesn't make sense.
If this Coronet was $1,000, I would say, you know what, that's cool.
Yeah, but good luck getting a $1,000 USA made with nitro guitar today.
I didn't. I'm just saying.
When's the last time you saw one of those guitars going for $1,000?
Like, I don't know, when they had, I'm thinking of Fender Specials, but that was a long time ago too.
Yep.
No, what I'm saying is I really feel like it's kind of stupid that an SG Junior, like, costs less than this.
Yeah, so they should raise the price of SG Juniors then.
I'm not saying raise them because prices are bad enough as they are.
Maybe this could be closer to $13.99. Would that be better? Would that get you there?
I still wouldn't want one, but I mean I wouldn't be as like aggravated with the price.
Yeah, I think this is the step in the right direction for Epiphone. I think they should be making, be making bottom of the barrel junk guitars, right?
I mean,
I know that sounds bad, but they should be buying those guitars or selling those guitars that are $200 that are super hard to play. Then they should be selling those guitars that are made in like Korea or
around
wherever,
$1,000.
that are around $600 to $1,000. And then after that, I think they should be making reissues of old guitars that were cool,
No.
like the Epiphone Casinos
Hey.
and these Coronets.
Dude, you and I are on the same page. I just, like, why would you pay that price?
Well, I mean,
For something that, like, I really don't feel like the shape is anything to write home about.
I don't love the shape as much as a Double Cut Junior, but I like the guitar. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to check it out. You've maybe changed my opinion on this.
I doubt it because you're stubborn and that'll never get through to your head. But I really think that it's kind of like pointless.
I don't think it's pointless. I think it's the exact right move they need to make. I think all the things are perfect about it. The price could be a little softer, but let's
Right.
be honest. All the prices right now, whenever I look at them, are pretty expensive. I mean, really.
Right.
You know, I mean, a deluxe reverb now is like $1,600, right?
I know.
So this guitar is about $1,600, a little bit more, but $1,600-ish. And 5-6 years ago, deluxe reverb was $1,100. So if you would take that back to then, $1,100
I
for that
think if
guitar.
the Coronet was $1,200, I wouldn't balk at it.
Yeah, but $1,200 for Epiphone now is like one of those crappy, inspired by custom shop guitars.
Stop saying crappy.
Well,
How much is the greenie? I don't even know.
like the Epiphone
The
Greenie?
Epiphone greenie.
I think it's over $1,000. It's right around $1,000 if I remember right.
Yeah, I don't know. It should just be a markup from that.
Yeah.
But anyways, we
Well,
can talk about this forever.
We could. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Do you think it's dumb like he does?
I think it's pretty stupid.
I think it's perfect idea. It's what they should be doing.
All right, now we're gonna talk about our main topic. Okay, so I am in the belief that if you're a guitar player that plays out, not necessarily someone that's just at home, right? That's a totally different thing. But if you play out, if you played sessions or anything like that,
Yep.
I think every guitar player should have more than one pedal board.
We can agree on this.
Perfect.
We can agree on this.
So
one.
here's my statement. I feel like a guitar player, if you play acoustic and electric,
Yep.
you should have no less than 3 pedal boards.
Yeah.
I think you
that
should
probably
have.
makes sense.
I think you should have one for an acoustic,
Yep.
and I say pedal board lightly. Like if you have one of those Tech 21 acoustic rigs,
Yep.
that counts as your whole pedal board.
Right.
If you have, let's say you're taking a Princeton or a Blues Junior and you have a small pedal board.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be big, but
Right.
it should be a separate entity that you can grab and everything's connected to it and you can just plug into it and you're good
Grab
to go.
and go, and then have one bigger board. Whether you change things in and out or it's a mainstay.
Yep.
But I really feel like if you have multiple amps for electric,
Yeah.
does that make sense? So you should have definitely one acoustic board and one electric board.
Yeah.
But I really do think if you have a small amp and a bigger amp, which most people do,
Yeah.
you got to have at least 3 boards in total.
Yeah. So you kind of go a different route with pedal boards. You kind of set up pedal boards for an amp.
I think you have to.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they live for that amp only. And you don't really swap things out a lot. You kind of leave all the same stuff on the
I'm a set it and forget
And
it
I
type
go
of
a little
person.
different route. I do have multiple boards, and I take them on different occasions. If I've got a little more space, I might take my big board. If I've got a little less space, I might take my little board. But they're not necessarily always with the same amps. Sometimes, if I'm taking a different amp, I'll swap overdrives to fit that amp a little bit better, or the gig. But they've got like mainstays of this, this set of pedals usually sticks with this board. I might change 1 or 2 pedals off of it. But I do think you need multiple boards. I think that, if you're playing acoustic and electric, you definitely need an acoustic board, which you don't need a ton on an acoustic board in my opinion, but you need some type of direct box or some way to change it, change your signal. I want a pedal tuner, and sometimes I want like a little bit of a shaper, some type of, whatever that happens to be, if it's some type of EQ, if it's some type of like preamp style pedal. And if your guitar doesn't have an active pickup in it, you're going to need something to kind of push that also.
Sure.
So you need a little bit of stuff, and then other people might play delays or chorus or whatever. But you need some type of an acoustic pedal board. And then for me, I like having a small travel grab and go board that I could throw in I could throw it in a suitcase, I could throw it anywhere I want to. Small little travel board. And then I like to have a little bit larger. I call it my large board, but my large board these days is much smaller than what it used to be.
Sure.
However, it's large for me. And then that's the one I take to gigs where either I need a lot more effects or if I've just got the space for it.
Yeah, so I think you hit on a good note too, because we think of boards differently.
Yeah, we do.
Like you said, I kind of have a smaller electric board that's for specific amp or amps.
Yeah. And
I just set it and forget it. And then I have a bigger board for my bigger amps.
So you will take a small amp
and a small board.
And a small board to a gig that needs a smaller thing. For me, I might take a small amp to a gig that needs a smaller amp, but I could still possibly bring my big board if there's enough space for it, or if I need whatever, or if I just want to.
Right.
And I can kind of like flip-flop that way, where you're much more standard. Big amp, the big board comes. Little amp, little pedal board, which makes sense.
I have a simple mind.
So
small board, small
yeah.
amp. Big board, big amp.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's just I like having the flexibility of changing things out a little bit.
I do everything but label them.
Right. Small board.
Yeah.
But you don't like to pull pedals off your board and swap stuff out as much as I do. And I kind of like switching things up a little bit more. I think that's what it comes down to. But do you need multiple pedal boards? I think so. I think if you don't have multiple pedal boards and you're playing out or playing different venues or different things, it'd be cool to have a pedal board and a thing set up for if you know you're playing a gig every Friday night at this certain place and it requires something special.
Right.
You've got a board just specially for that gig on Friday nights.
And I hope you all take this into consideration. If you're starting out, like, you don't need multiple boards all at once.
No.
Like, this is for someone who does it like...
You don't need a board if you're just playing at home and starting. You can throw them on the floor with a little power supply and you're good to go.
And it's not like a you have to. It's more like out of convenience and making sure that you're making use out of your time.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is, like, when you have new pedals coming in all the time, that's why I like to set it and forget it. Because, like, if I can do less thinking and more concentrating on what I'm playing, that's what it's about for me. Yep. So I don't like switching things around.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because this is like, we talk tons about gear. Like, that's the most of what this channel is talking about gear. But ultimately, the whole reason that I want to talk about gear here is to make it simpler and to, like, remove some of the barriers to get us to playing more freely.
Right.
Let's break it down. Yeah, we want to talk about the fun things that maybe we're going to buy or check out or do. But ultimately, like, let's remove the barriers and get down to the nuts and bolts of it. What do you need for this? What's going to make you feel more, like, in tune with what you're playing? Yep. So, yeah, I absolutely agree, though. Multiple boards. So, is there anything else you want to add to that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I guess there is a little bit. As far as multiple boards go, even try to test out, like, different shape sizes of boards too.
Yeah.
Like Guthrie Trap, like, he has like a 12 by 12 board.
It's like perfectly square.
It's perfect.
It's really cool. I've actually kind of thought about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. So experiment and tell us what you think. But all right, go ahead. What is our first gas or pass?
Moving to gas or pass, I wanted to talk about those Danocaster guitars. Danocaster. So Dan Strain down in Asheville is making those Danocaster guitars. They're all handmade guitars. I do think he gets the body from somewhere. At one time he was getting the bodies from someplace. It was reported he was getting them from someplace anyway. Maybe he wasn't. But anyway, so he shoots them all with nitro. He paints them all. He's kind of the guy people go to for, like, refinishing work right now in Nashville. Him and a couple other people, Jeff Sin and some people like that.
I was about to say, Sin is the one I know. But.
So Danocaster's doing that. A lot of his guitars come with Ron Ellis pickups. They come with some Buds pickups and different things like that. But right now, Guthrie Trap's main guitar is a Danocaster. J.D. Simo's 2 main guitars, Danocasters.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty wild. Tom Bukovacs went through a bunch of Danocasters. Name them. Down in Nashville.
How much are these things again?
They're right around $4,000.
That's
So it's custom shop money.
Yeah.
Custom shop money. He was selling them direct for a while. He would pop them up on Instagram, and like the first person to get it would buy it.
Okay.
So
it is or is not a parts guitar?
it is. I do not believe it's a parts guitar.
Because Ron Ellis pickups, he's buying the body. It kind of sounds like
Yeah, it does kind of sound like it, but he's certainly like tweaking them and making them right. And now he's not taking any special orders. So he's like fitting the neck to the body to be just right. If he doesn't like it, he'll swap it out, switch. You know, we're under the beliefs that all that stuff matters. If you guys haven't realized that yet, but like all the parts of the guitar is going to make a difference, right? So he's like trying to match everything up just right.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a parts guitar, kinda, but I mean he's shaping the necks, and I don't know if he's building the bodies now or if he is buying the bodies. But what's your opinion on these Danocaster guitars? I know you've looked into them just enough to be dangerous at this point. Is it gas or pass for you?
So I've got limited experience with parts guitars.
Mm-hmm.
I've played Nash guitars. Yep. They've been okay. I think they're like, for the price point, I think they are pretty good.
Me too.
For the price point, they're hard to beat. Have I ever been blown away with a Nash guitar? Me personally, I haven't, but maybe I haven't played a good one. I've only played like 3. So I really shouldn't judge it.
I've played more than that. I've probably played in the ballpark of like 8 of them now. And I kind of have the same beliefs as what you're thinking. Like, I've not played any that's blown me away. I've played many that are very good. And I've played many that are just kind of like, meh.
And honestly, I feel like every time I've played one, I'm like, man, this sounds good, but it just doesn't feel great in my hands.
Yeah.
So that's been a lot of it. So I wasn't necessarily inspired when I was playing it. Now I've played K-Line.
Yeah.
K-Line guitars.
Yeah.
They are, in my opinion, just as good as Fender Custom Shop.
Yeah, those K-Line guitars they're making right now are great. So that guy that makes them is in St. Louis, and he makes everything. Right. He's winding pickups now. He makes the little plates and jacks. He makes everything.
Right.
Killer guitars.
Yeah.
I think Danocaster and him are probably pretty close in the same ballpark.
And that's kind of where I was getting at is if Danocaster is like K-Line, then I'd be interested in it. I still can't help it when I look at a headstock. I want it to say Fender.
Yeah.
And that's just me trying to deal with my own insecurities, I guess.
I don't know.
But that's one thing I struggle with. But I already have a Tele and a Strat that say Fender on it.
Right.
So I think at this point, if it plays phenomenally and sounds great, I'd jump on that train.
Yeah. I'm very interested in it. It's a gas for me. I'll go ahead and let that out of the bag. It's a gas for me. I want to go check one out and go play one. They're kind of hard to get a hold of without just buying one. There is 2 retailers that have them now, and that's kind of how he sells them. Unless you're a good friend, I think there's a friendly way of buying them. But his stuff just looks great. I'd love to play one of his guitars. I would love to play. We were just talking about Jeff Sin guitars. I'd love to play one of his Strats.
We'll never get the chance to play that.
We will.
I don't know.
He's still shipping them out, man. They're still out there.
They go quick, so.
They go quick. One day we'll make it happen.
That'd be cool.
One day it'll make it happen. So is it a gas or pass for you, I guess, is the question.
I think it's a gas. I would one of those things. I'd have to play it before because I'm cheap.
It's in the middle of the road.
Yeah, one of those things I would still look at the headstock, but if it truly blew my socks off, it's a gas.
Yeah, it's a gas for me. So you want to move to your gas or pass?
Yeah, so mine I wanted to talk about is if you look on Reverb or the vintage market.
Yep.
We're not huge reverb people. I like reverb tanks, and I think they have a purpose. But did you know you can find an old vintage reverb tank for $900?
Like Fender Reverb Tank?
Fender Reverb Tank. From 63.
Yeah.
Or, kind of in that era.
Didn't realize that's where they were.
Pre-CBS, you can find a reverb tank for $900. Would you even be interested in that? Do you feel like that's something you would like to dabble in?
Well, I am interested in that. That is kind of interesting to me.
I think I found one for $850, locally.
Boy, $850.
That's really not bad.
That's not bad. At that price, I'm into it.
Yeah.
I'm into it. All tube Fender Reverb Tank. I'm definitely into it. I guess the only other thing I would consider is those Ebo reverbs that are out there.
And I have no idea how much they cost.
I think they're close to
$2,000.
Yeah.
That's a little steep for my
I could be wrong. They could be closer to 16 or something like that. But they're over $1,000, I remember.
Yeah. I mean, they sound fantastic. So I get why they're priced that high.
But I'm not also the biggest reverb guy in the world. And reverb isn't the biggest concern for me. Mm-hmm. So
when you remember what Gearman Dude says.
Yeah. Reverb sucks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't do an Ebo, I don't think. But maybe $800 for a vintage Fender Reverb Tank.
Right.
You're not going to lose money on it.
No.
You're always going to be able to get your money back out of that.
Right. Well, as long as it's working.
Well, yeah, as long as you keep it up and have it maintained. So normally I would say pass on that, I think, because I'm not a big reverb guy. But I think I would give it a gas for that price. I didn't realize that's where it was at.
It's seriously like $850.
Yeah,
like,
that's cheaper
locally.
than like an Echoplex or something.
I know.
You know?
And it's like, I mean, that is a piece of history.
Which that's not reverb, but you know what I'm saying. Like that's another one of those items I think in my head. Like it's unconventional. It's kind of big and bulky. You're not probably going to take it to a gig, but is it worth $800 to set on top of an amp?
It's also a lot easier to mess with than an Echoplex.
Yeah, the maintenance and stuff isn't anything like an Echoplex.
Right.
But yeah, for me, at that price and stuff, it would be a gas.
Awesome.
Is that where you're at?
I think so. I think it's one of those things where like I'm not like wanting to go out there and buy it right now, just me personally.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like you said, you know it's gonna be like in your arsenal forever. Like once you get it.
Yeah. And as long as you take care of it, it will last forever.
Right.
Man, how cool.
Yep.
$850?
That's what I'm saying.
Is this a marketplace thing?
No, it was at a shop in St. Louis locally.
Man, okay.
I'll talk to you about it.
We'll
I don't
talk
wanna,
about it
now
after.
people are gonna go out and buy it.
It's probably gone. So okay. So I want to get into my main topic, and I wanted to talk about a subject that I don't think we've ever talked about.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about your feelings on clones. I wanted to have your feelings about clones on all things. I want to talk about guitars, pedals, amps, whatever. Whenever I go out and look at a piece of gear and they're talking about how it's a clone of blah, 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 or it's a copy of whatever it is, an amp or a pedal, sometimes it's icky feeling. That's the only way I can put it. So whenever I think of icky feeling, I think of like those Warm Audio guys that's putting that stuff out.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Well, you're probably better off for it. Okay, I'm not going to make any friends saying that, but you're better off for not knowing that company.
Okay.
So Warm Audio, they make like a Klon that's in the exact same case as a Klon. I forgot exactly what they call it, but it's just like Warm Audio instead of Klon, but it looks exactly like a Klon, and it's supposed to be the exact same circuit.
Full-tone OCD?
Yeah, they make a full tone OCD, but they call it like something weird. Instead of OCD, it's something else. But yeah, they've done the same thing, even though full tone's back kind of doing things again because of Jackson Audio. But they make some studio stuff. They make like some preamp things, and I don't want to talk about them specifically.
Even though you just did.
No, what I mean is...
I don't want to talk about them specifically,
I don't want to
they're
talk...
trash.
So what I mean is I don't want to talk about them because... Honestly, I don't want to give them any credit towards anything because, in my opinion, they don't deserve any.
That's fair.
They're just copying circuits and trying to live off of other people's work, in my opinion.
Sounds a lot like what we're doing right now.
Well, kind of, but I mean, I think, it's a completely different thing whenever you're coming up with your own ideas and your own opinions on things.
That's fair.
They're just completely copying circuits and, copying cases and everything and putting it out there and telling people what it's on. So, and their stuff is, here we go, still into it. Their stuff, like, you know how Wampler will put out something, they'll be like, yeah, it's supposed to be like a Noble's ODR, it's supposed to be like whatever, and then he's got his own little tweak and stuff on there. There's no tweaks.
So it's just the
It's
circuit.
a straight up clone.
So is it like...
Gross.
It's like not even like a builder kit type of thing.
It's like a builder kit that somebody put together and is selling it to say, this is a clone of a blah, blah, blah. So, but I'm done with Warm Audio. I'm done. Done with them. So, but what's your feelings on clones whenever it comes to stuff? Because I feel differently towards, clearly you can tell how I feel towards somebody that is an exact copy.
All right. So you're talking about exact copies or even the people who tweak a circuit?
I want to talk about both. So the exact copies are pretty easy. It's gross.
I think it's unethical.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. It's like...
Especially when you can still buy it. When you can buy the real thing. When you can buy a real OCD.
You know why they do it, though? It's cheaper.
Yeah, I know it is. But
that's why they do it. I mean, not saying it's right. Because if I was a pedal company and somebody was copying me, I'd be hacked off.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah. I would be
And we can talk about all the like Chinese copies of stuff that comes over too. And we haven't even got into that. But like the Tone of King or whatever it is, a company that puts that stuff out. You know, and there's tons of companies that do that. And I would put those in those clone categories too. Right. It's gross.
I think so.
You're just taking money away from the people that have worked their whole lives.
Dude, we can get on the same space there. So,
I know.
Yeah, the direct clones, I mean, that's just like totally cutting the profit and the actual wherewithal to create this product away from the original creators, which is not cool. The people who tweak it, like, I mean, look at Wampler.
Yep.
He's tweaked everything.
Yeah, not everything, but everything he's ever made, he's tweaked it is like reminiscent of another pedal.
Right. I mean, you know, you got the Rat's Bane and stuff like that. That's got his own tweak on it, which I can respect that because it's like,
me too.
I feel like this is a really good example of what I think a Rat pedal should be or whatever. But let me put my spin on it and how I feel like it would make it a little better.
Yeah, I love that he's like, I love this pedal, but you know what I didn't like about it? This, and this. And this is what I changed to make it that much better.
You know, so I love JHS pedals.
Yeah.
But you gotta say, like the Bonsai and stuff, that's a complete copy.
Yeah, but I don't feel that the same way about the Bonsai. Because a lot of those pedals are really hard to get now.
That's true. They're trying to make it more manageable for like...
They want everybody to experience those pedals. And it's not like... I mean, the only pedal that's... I guess the only two pedals that's on the Bonsai that you can still buy is a regular TS9 and then the 808. But supposedly there are mimic copies of his TS9, his 808 that's... You know, it's got
well, and the cool thing about, at least with the Bonsai, you know, they have their JHS, like, because he used to tweak them.
Yep.
Like his mod. So, like, it's not completely, like, totally...
Ripping it off. It
is, like, if you want just a general... I keep going on a tangent, but, like, you know, Bonsai or the Rat Pack or whatever he did.
Right.
You know, I think that's a cool idea. Yeah, the original... Or the exact clones, that's messed up.
What do you think about Tellys and Strats? I mean, if you look at it, like, I mean, even like a Silver Sky, I mean, that's not exactly a clone.
That's not.
But it's not, you know, real far off, right?
It's not real far off. I feel like that's like...
it's kind of like Wampler putting his own spin on it.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's putting his own spin on it. Also, you think of, like, you know, even cell phones, right? You got the Android users and the iPhone users.
Yep.
Like, it's just a different way of presenting it.
Yep.
I feel that way with PRS SE. I feel that same way with Sir. When they make, like, HSS guitars and stuff like that. Like, that's very different than a Fender HSS.
Yeah, it feels like a time machine. Like you've went in the future when you play one of those guitars compared to a standard.
Reverend guitars, I feel that's completely different. Yeah. Now, a brand I don't know much about, so I really shouldn't talk about it because I haven't played them. But I don't
Let's talk about them anyway.
Sure. I'm going to, so it doesn't matter. LSL, have you seen those?
Mm-hmm.
They're like Telly and Strat.
Yep. They're Fender copies.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about them.
No, they kind of fall in the same ballpark as like a lot of the Nash stuff. I don't know if they're parts guitars. I don't know if they're like custom made. But yeah.
And you know what? They might be, was it Coilings or Collings?
Collings.
Yeah. They might be like that where they're phenomenal.
Yeah.
And like
I've heard good things about LSL.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
I've just not played one. I've seen them in shops actually and thought, oh, that's cool, and
like
then moved
K-Line,
on. But
I respect the heck out of K-Line.
Yeah, I do too.
Like K-Line are fantastic guitars. Danocasters, I'm sure, are great.
Yeah.
Nash, I don't have anything necessarily wrong with Nash. I just have never been wowed by them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I think when they're putting their own spin on it,
here's
pretty cool.
the problem I have is when you have like someone doing a Chibson copy.
Yeah. Oh.
Have you seen those? Like the headstock's the same.
It almost looks like a Gibson logo.
It really does.
I mean, really, if you're not paying attention,
if you're trying to like market everything identical to what the company who originated is, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to step it up, tweak it, I mean, how many companies out there? Look at Friedman, a modified Marshall.
Yeah. So I mean, and he just put it that Plex, which is supposed to be like an exact copy of his Marshall, his old Marshall.
Right.
I mean, is that gross?
And we're not trying to like...
to me, it doesn't feel gross because that's kind of a hard amp to get a hold of.
I also think there's a difference. Maybe this is part of it too. There's a difference in a company that has proven themselves otherwise and then does something like that.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, this is my version of this old 50-watt Marshall I got.
Out of respect, we wanted to do something like this.
He loves Marshall.
Right.
And he's not trying to take business from Marshall necessarily. I mean, I guess in some ways he kind of wants them to buy his amp and not Marshall's.
But if your whole business is based on copies...
Deceit. It's based on deceit. Like to make it... I mean, it honestly is.
Okay.
I'm getting
fired
up. But it's deceit whenever you make it look like the box looks the same.
No, for sure.
The logo almost looks the same.
For sure.
Oh.
I just think there's a difference when you put out your own product. Like, for instance, Mesa Boogie, they've been doing things their way for years, and then they do this Cali Tweed. Wonder what that's about.
Yeah, I wonder what that's based off of.
Right.
But I didn't have a problem with it.
I didn't either.
It is kind of weird that I don't have problems with it. But that amp's got its own spin. It's not like the exact as a Tweed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's a difference when you do your own thing for a while, and then you do a nod.
Yeah.
Or, like JHS, where they truly are trying to... show you history of the Tube Screamer or whatever.
Yeah, you look at that Legends of Fuzz. I don't feel gross about the Legends of Fuzz.
No,
like all those fuzzes they put out. Like I can't get a hold of a lot of those pedals.
That's the thing too. And Wampler's that way, like with the Moxie.
Yeah.
Who's gonna find a TS10 for under $500? Nowhere.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people just won't ever get to experience it, and then he throws his own twist in there.
Right. So it's not a direct copy.
So the direct copies is what we feel most gross about.
Right. And the companies that are
being deceitful.
Sure. I feel like I'm hearing a sermon now, but
well, you know what I mean. It's gross whenever they're just doing that.
Yeah, but you think about these guitar companies and Friedman amps, or you think about not Bad Cat. What's it? Matchless.
Yeah.
They're like a Vox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like that's anything.
No, and I mean, it kind of feels like, especially with amps, like it's hard because there's only so many things you can do with an amp. Like, it feels like since the early, like, Fenders and Marshalls and Voxes, like, yeah, they've thrown more gain stages and different things on there, and there's, like, been slight tweaks, but it feels like that's the basic food groups.
Fender, Marshall, Vox, Orange, and Mesa.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's really anything else.
Yeah, there's just... I guess Saul Dano was a big one whenever he came out with the SLO 100.
Sure.
Because that was the first one that had a bunch of gain staging and a big master, you could use. But yeah, I mean, there's other things out there. But there's other things out there, but that's like the basic food groups, right?
Right. So,
yeah,
I think it's one of those things where it just depends on the company, depends on how they market it.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it, too.
Yes.
And because if they're trying to be like, fool you, that's different.
Yeah.
But
or if they're just trying to suck money away from other companies. I've got it on Amazon before. We've all done it, right? We've gotten on Amazon and looked at guitar pedals to be like, what's out here?
Right.
Like, just for grins. And you see like almost the exact same logo as like a JHS pedal. Like the JHS like the Andy Timmons signature. There's some company over in China that's basically ripping that thing exactly off. And it's got like a hashtag symbol on there instead of an @
Well, and we're talking about, stuff now, but think about all the companies in the past that have tried to rip off Boss.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So...
yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's whenever it's direct rip-offs.
There's a problem, for sure.
Yeah.
And they're trying to be blatant about it.
Yeah.
I mean, not that people should be more secretive. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, you don't want them to market it as something completely different and it's an exact rip-off of, you know, another pedal. Which I guess that's what like Behringer did with that cheap line of pedals they had.
I mean,
in a way, a lot of that stuff's marketed to be something unique.
Didn't Dan Electro kind of do that too?
Yeah, Dan Electro kind of did that too. But I mean, those were super cheap pedals. Is it? Man, yeah, I feel different about those.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't think there's any right or wrong. I think when you try to
There is a wrong. Warm audio. There's a wrong.
All right. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of gray areas, and we're not pedal makers, so we really don't have any say in that. As far as, you know, luthiers, we have no say in that either. So we're just bystanders.
Yeah, I think most people are doing it right. I think most companies are doing it right. It's, you know, I think we've made our point. Everybody knows where we stand at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, yeah, if you guys feel different, let us know. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.